This is part 3 of how we got into massive debt, and this is one of my most embarrassing debts that we have.
I just booked a trip to Disneyland, even though I'm paying off $41,000 worth of debt.
That brings you joy and makes you happy, because if not, you're gonna be miserable, and I don't want to be miserable, so I'm gonna keep my Disney pass.
If you've ever wondered what the VIP Disney World tour is like, I went yesterday and I'm about to spill all the tea, girl.
I got married at Disney's Wedding Pavilion, and here are the things that no one tells you about.
Here's how much I spent day 1 at Walt Disney World while paying off $30,000 in credit card debt.
Look at this. I know, it's my dream.
So I don't know what it is about Disney, but they have people obsessed with their theme parks. They are going into debt to take their family on vacation there multiple times a year. And it seems like when people take vacations here, they go all out. They buy all the merch, they go to the character breakfast, they pay for extra extravagant experiences. It is absolutely wild. And Disney knows that people are huge fanatics for the Disney brand and for their theme parks, and they know that people will spend thousands of dollars to bring their family on a vacation there. So what do? Of course, they raise prices. We're going to start off with this clip that shows how the prices have increased at Disneyland parks and how their pricing model gets people to spend more money.
Disney just announced record-setting streaming profits and record-breaking revenue from its experiences division. A key reason why they keep raising prices. The media giant brought in $26 billion in revenue in its first quarter earnings of fiscal year 2026. Disney raised prices for both its streaming service and its theme parks last October. The company says higher park prices reflect inflation, higher labor costs, and continued investments in new rides and experiences. But Disney also changed how it prices a visit to its parks back in 2016. The company introduced dynamic pricing, meaning ticket prices vary depending on demand and how crowded the parks are expected to be. And it's not just tickets. Prices inside the parks have climbed too. In its earnings report, Disney reported that per guest spending rose by 4%. One reason is that food and merchandise is more expensive than ever. In December of 2025, I went to Disneyland to price check some of Disney's most popular food and merch myself. A Mickey ice cream bar that would have costed me $2.75 in 2009 had more than doubled in price to $6.50. Mickey ears that once cost $12 now sell for $36.99. And a Dole Whip that was $2.89 in 2009 now costs $7.29. A once free service, FastPass, which let visitors skip long lines, has been replaced with a tiered paid system that can cost up to $449 depending on the park and time of year. And from 2015 to 2025, Disney World's top-tier annual pass nearly doubled from $829 to $1,629, 44% increase after inflation. Price increases like these may seem insignificant on their own, but Disney's bottom line is increasingly dependent on them. Disney's experiences division, which includes its theme parks, resorts, and cruises, crossed $10 billion in quarterly revenue for the first time. Meanwhile, its film and television businesses weighed on overall earnings despite gains in streaming, which the company said rose 72% to $450 million. And with prices at the parks still rising, a lot of fans are now asking,
Well, what's my breaking point? When will I say, oh, this is too much for an annual pass?
Of course, Disney is kind of price gouging its customers now by introducing dynamic pricing. This is like what we're seeing across some stores and grocery stores where they now have an electronic tag instead of a paper tag. That is so they can increase prices based on supply and demand, which is just another way to take more money out of our wallets. The reason that Disney says they increase prices is because of inflation, higher labor costs, and their continued investment into the theme park and improving the rides, as well as changing some of the rides. But can someone please explain to me why they have to increase costs so much past the point of inflation? In the video, they talked about the Mickey ice cream bar that used to cost $2.75 in 2009 that now costs $6.50 today. And if we were to account for inflation, that $2.75 today is now worth $4.19. So why has the price increased way past that? Same thing with the Mickey ears. Those cost $11.95 in 2009 and now cost $36.99 today. If we take $11.95 and put that into today's money, accounting for inflation, that is now $18.20. So why is something that should be $18.20 actually $36.99? Hint, hint, they want to make record-breaking profits. Same exact situation with the Dole Whip. That was $2.89. In today's dollars should cost $4.40, but it costs $7.29. And of course, they have removed the old Fast Pass system. So that used to be included with any ticket or season pass, and that was completely free of charge. But now they're going to charge you up to $400 in order to get a Lightning Lane pass so that you can actually ride the rides and not wait in line all day at the park. But more on that later. So naturally, with all of these price increases, people are spending absolutely insane amounts of money at Disneyland and Disney World. And so we are going to look at some of those clips right now.
Here's how much we spent for 1 week at Disney World visiting all 4 parks. Starting off with park tickets, we bought a 4-day, 1 park per day ticket, which came out to $663 per person. I'm crying just saying that out loud. Oh, we also attended Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party one night at Magic Kingdom, which was a separate ticketed event, coming out to $243.89 per person. For our hotel, we stayed on property at the Pop Century Resort, and for 5 nights, it came out to $1,752.98. So split amongst 2 people, that was $876.49 per person. One of our biggest expenses of this trip was actually food, which includes quick service meals, reserved dining packages, all snacks and drinks, as well as a character breakfast in Animal Kingdom. Altogether, we spent $900.41 on food across.
And this video just keeps on going. You are not just shelling out money for Disneyland tickets, but you are also paying for Lightning Lane. You're paying for your flight, your accommodation, maybe a rental car, food. There is so much more that goes into a Disneyland vacation, not just the tickets alone.
So now for the grand total on a 5-day trip visiting all 4 parks at Disney World, including flights, hotel, park tickets, and in-park purchases, we spent $6,191.89. More specifically, I spent $3,096.17, which is my half of the shared costs plus the merch I bought. Wow, with this much money, I could fly to Japan, travel for more than a week with 2 days allocated to Tokyo Disney, or probably even visit all 3 Disney resorts in Asia in a 2-week period. My goodness.
It is absolutely mind-blowing to me what people will spend on the extras when they go on a Disney vacation. I did get to go to Disney World as a kid. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I'm glad I got to go, but by no means did we go every year or multiple times a year. But we did not buy any food at the property, and we did not buy any merch. We packed our lunches and brought them into the park. I don't know if that's still allowed to do today. If any one of you have an Asian parent, you definitely know how it is and how frugal they are. So to me, that was just not even an option. But it seems like in all of these videos I watch, everyone is buying, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the park, and they're also buying merch as well. So all of those things, of course, are just going to add to the cost of your trip when Disneyland tickets themselves are already so expensive.
Here's what a day at Disney cost me for a family of 5. Before we even got into the park, it cost me $30 just for parking. And even being a Florida resident, tickets for a family of 5 with one child under 10 was still $974. Paying for the Lightning Lane was $35 per person and only would have given us speed access to 3 rides, so we opted out of that. Right after our first ride, we bought 2 waters and 3 ice creams. This totaled $29.50. After the second ride, they wanted a pretzel and I wanted a beer. This was another $19. This guy right here wanted a lightsaber for $44.99, but I was a hard no. After that, it was time for lunch, so we went to the Brown Derby where we could sit down for a little bit and order a decent meal. They didn't like the options and the prices were outrageous, so we left and went somewhere else. We each ended up with a small pizza, each had a side and a small drink, totaling $44.35. After lunch, we took off and waited more lines, and we also met a few characters along the way. Once we got to Star Wars Land, we had to buy some blue milk for $10.29. It tasted like a slushie with nerds on top. After the next ride, we went and had a churro, a water, and a margarita. It had been a long day at this point. That margarita was well needed. This was another $36. And just as I thought the day was finally over, the rest of the family decided they wanted to go to dinner at downtown Disney Springs. This place was my literal hell. It was shoulder to shoulder in every store and restaurant. We ended up at the Formata Cocina for some Mexican food. $30 for carnitas, $19 margarita, $8 corn, $30 carne asada, and then each of the kids with drinks and food were an additional $30 to $40 each, totaling $245.27 for dinner. There was some sticker shock here, and right after that, they all wanted to go shop. Luckily, it was getting late, and we decided to not go into any stores. The grand total for our day was $1,391.91.
I am absolutely speechless. People are commenting, people for real going into debt over this. Going to Disney World in 2025 is crazy. I had to stop at $974 $24. And that was the top comment with 24,000 likes. $30 parking on top of everything else is crazy. That's another thing Disney loves to do, is they just keep jacking up the price of parking. Ridiculous. No idea why anyone goes there. So of course, with the price of Disney just getting so outrageous, people simply cannot afford it. So they're either choosing number one, not to go, or number two, go into debt to take their family to Disney.
This is part 3 of how we got into massive debt, and this is one of my most embarrassing debts that we have. A few years ago, our family took a trip to Disney and we impulsively purchased the Disney Vacation Club. And we did so by financing it. If you don't know what the Disney Vacation Club, or DVC, is, it's kind of like a timeshare for Disney World. Except instead of having one specific resort or specific weeks of the year that you get to use it, it's a point system. You buy a certain number of points, and then those points can get redeemed at any DVC resort any time of the year that they have availability. That means you can end up staying at Disney World properties, Disneyland properties, and they also have other DVC resorts like in Hawaii and in Europe. So it definitely provides like a lot of opportunity to travel. Now, with that being said, this is a very bougie luxury purchase that we had no business making. There were some incentives when we purchased, so the total cost of financing was around $27,000. Now, was this stupid? Yes, I know that. But I promise you, our hearts were in a good place, but like our financial literacy was zero. Also should add that we didn't have anywhere near as much consumer debt at the time compared to what we have now. We just foolishly thought that this would be a good investment and give us an opportunity to travel with a lot of kids. Am I proud of this purchase? No. Was it necessary? No. So we have looked into selling it, but we're currently upside down in our loan. If we were to try to sell it right now, we would actually have to pay $10,000 to have the loan fully paid off and be able to like release the title of it.
So just in case you missed it, she financed a Disney Vacation Club membership for $27,000. Financing $27K for anything that isn't a car or a house repair is kind of insane if you're not both very high earners with a lot of career stability. And the creator said it really is so stupid of us. I will give it to her. She does sound like she has learned from her mistakes, and she, is looking into trying to sell it, which she can because they're upside down and it would cost her another $10K. So at least she realizes that she made a mistake, and hopefully she doesn't make the mistake again. I think her reasoning for wanting to do the Disney Vacation Club was very innocent. She wanted to take her family there. However, there are ways you can take your family on fun vacations without financing a Disney Vacation Club membership for $27K. Why are all the Disney adults in debt? How did we get into debt? Timeshare, Disney World. Ah, I see. You could just not go to Disney. More people need to say we can't afford Disney. Disney is a luxury, not a necessity. And the creator responded back, I know, we could afford the original trip, but there was no excuse to finance the vacation club. And that's exactly what Disney is hoping you're going to do. They know that as soon as they get you in the door at the Disney World or Disneyland park, you are going to be spending money you don't have on food, merch, Disney Vacation Club memberships. They know that you are going to overspend. In my opinion, it's cheaper and better to take kids out into nature or to museums rather than overpriced theme parks. There we go. That is the comment that just hit the nail on the head. You can have a great time with your family without going into debt. Take them to, like this person said, museums, take them to nature, go camping. There are other ways to make memories and make your family happy without sacrificing your financial future for it. Another thing I was seeing that was almost more concerning than people just going into debt for Disney was people already being in debt for one reason or the other, Disney or just credit card debt, consumer debt, and then tacking on a Disney trip on top of it. So just making their already precarious situation even worse.
Here's how much I spent day one at Walt Disney World while paying off $30,000 in credit card debt. We landed in Orlando at about 9 a.m. So when we got to our hotel, we had to get breakfast. And whenever I come to Disney, I always get the reusable mug for $23. And the reason why is because I am a Diet Coke addict. So if I added up the cost of all of my Diet Cokes throughout the week, it's going to be more than $23. Buying the mug saves us money and reduces waste. Going into the trip, we had exactly one sit-down meal planned, and that was at Sanaa, which is at Animal Kingdom Lodge. The beauty in the sit-down meals is that while they are pricey, you can look at the menus online beforehand and gauge how much you're going to spend. We had 3 adult meals, 1 cocktail, we did an appetizer and 2 desserts, and I'm going to slow this down so all of you nosy little buggers can get a good look at how much we spent on dinner. In total, day one's cost added up to $288. I know it's a lot. Again, we planned the sit-down meal. If we didn't do the sit-down meal, I would say our total would be closer to $60, and if we did not get that mug, even lower at $45.
So she spent $288, and that was on food alone day one. That was breakfast, a souvenir cup for soda, and a sit-down dinner. I didn't see merch. I didn't even see her ticket or anything else, the hotel, the Uber, the flight, any of that. So that was just food. Almost $300 just for food. And a lot of times I see in these debt videos that a lot of these commenters are just hyping these people up. I'm a frequent Disney visitor, paying off debt, and it's important to find ways to still enjoy life while doing it. Just have to plan differently. Thinking of buying some gift cards in advance to budget. Love this! Going on a Disney cruise during our credit card debt payoff journey. As a Disney adult trying to also pay off debt, this makes me feel better. I'm going insane needing a trip. I need Disney for my mental health. I'm going to start saving for the trip in October. If you need Disney for your mental health, I am a bit concerned for you, and people are allowed to love what they love. They are allowed to love Disney, no harm, no foul there. But if you are in credit card debt, shouldn't the priority be paying that credit card debt off before going to Disney? That is just my gripe with these comments. And this one I definitely agree with. I get wanting to experience things, but the debt should probably be gone first. That is my view of things. If I wanted to go on a vacation, wherever, including Disney, I would definitely not do it while I was in debt, because I wouldn't be able to enjoy my time on vacation knowing that I'm paying for something that I simply can't afford. Like when I return from my relaxing vacation, I'm going to be paying for it with interest. So that to me just does not sound like a fun spot to be in. And that is why I will not go on vacation if I'm ever in debt. And we have another example right here.
I just booked a trip to Disneyland, even though I'm paying off $41,000 worth of debt. This is my third time going this year to a Disney park. We've really been enjoying ourselves. My kids are 4 and 5, so they're like literally the perfect age to like watch them go through and like experience the magic so purely, and so it makes us feel like we're kids again too. So we're really going to take advantage of that, and instead of doing like a traditional Christmas and a million presents and different decorations and all the things, we're just going to go to Disneyland. We just moved from Montana to Arizona, and so we do have a lot of our old Christmas decor that we brought with us that we are going to bring out hopefully this weekend. We are staying with my parents currently, so like we don't have our own space to decorate, even though we will be decorating with our decorations as well here, but we really don't have to spend a ton of money on like decorations and like hosting all the different things that we would normally do in the past few years of Christmas time. Instead, we're going to allocate that, and my kids will get presents from literally everyone else in their life, and we're going to take them to Disneyland the week before Christmas. I'm just a huge proponent of like making sure that we also live our life while we're in this debt-free journey. I know it's maybe not the top choice for someone who's paying off a ton of debt, but to be honest, like my kids are only going to be this age for so long. Like I don't want to spend their entire childhood being so strict that we didn't make any memories. Honestly, I don't really care. It's fully justified for me. And so I don't know, this is just your sign that if you are in a similar journey, even if it's not something as extreme as going to Disneyland, like make sure that you take time to also make experiences and take little breaks and treat yourself also, so you don't get burnt out during the journey too.
So just to reiterate, this is their third time going to Disney this year. So why do you need to take your family to Disneyland multiple times per year? It should be sort of like a once in a lifetime thing, especially if you're $41,000 in credit card debt. And I do get her point at the end about making memories, and we just talked about that in a prior clip. You don't need to go all out, get into debt to make memories with your family. There are things you can do for free or for much cheaper than a Disney vacation would cost. The other thing she said is she moved from Montana to Arizona, I believe. So Disneyland is in California. That is a long drive or potentially even a plane ride. Again, that's just going to add to the cost of the trip. And again, people are in the comments just agreeing and hyping her up. Do you? Life doesn't stop. Have the best time. Memories with your children is just priceless. Yes, girl, life is too short. And we have one person calling her out. I totally respect you. I do think that children would still enjoy their childhood without a trip to Disney. To me, debt payoff would be a priority, but again, I respect your decision. And that brings me to a comment from one of you guys on a previous video. As a child of parents that live financially responsibly, I never felt like I missed out on anything growing up. I never went to Disney, and the more expensive family vacations I've been on have all been when I became an adult. Honestly, I prefer it that way. I barely remember the vacations we took as a kid versus the ones as an adult. Plus, I'm able to fully appreciate and enjoy more expensive vacations now. I'll never understand the parents that think in order to make memories with our kids, we need to spend money. Besides, I appreciated the college fund I got way more than I would have appreciated going to to Disney or any other expensive vacation as a kid. There we go. I couldn't have said it better myself. And I do agree, especially with that last point, in that her parents ended up setting aside money for her for a college fund instead of a Disney vacation fund. I think that could be way more beneficial to you and your child's future rather than taking them to Disneyland. And again, I'm not against Disney. I'm not against people doing what they love, but if you're not in a financial position to do so, I think you need to think very carefully and consider the price you are going to be paying by going to Disney.
I'm in credit card debt, but I still have my Disney pass. I just feel like this is one of the things that I'm just never gonna cut out because, first of all, it brings me so much joy. It is in my budget. And I feel like if I'm paying off debt and I'm putting all my extra money towards that, this is my one thing. Or not my one thing. There's a few things, but this is one of the few things that is for myself that I get to enjoy and that makes life not miserable. So I feel like if you're paying off debt, I say yes, you can be aggressive and put a lot of money towards debt, but you should still find stuff that brings you joy and makes you happy, because if not, it's just gonna suck and you're gonna be miserable. And I don't want to be miserable, so I'm gonna keep my Disney pass.
So first she says that Disney is the one thing that she spends money on and it's kind of her guilty pleasure even though she's in debt. But then she says it's one of the few things. So this is the problem. People justify their purchases and they justify why they're in debt, and they will tell themselves any story they can over and over again to just be like, this is okay, this is what I'm doing. And unfortunately that mindset is the reason a lot of people will struggle to get out of debt, or maybe even never get out of debt. Because if your number one priority is not paying the debt off, you are going to constantly be repeating the same cycle. Another thing she says is you don't want to be miserable, and that's the same thing I hear in so many of these videos. I don't want to be miserable on my debt payoff journey, but why is your life miserable if you can't go to Disney? I think there is a deeper issue there if you feel that your life is so miserable without Disney. And again, Disney's fine if that brings you joy, but if it's harming you financially, that's not good. Gotta love this next one. It's called Affordable Stay at Disney's Polynesian Resort. When I hear someone say staying at Disney's Polynesian costs $10,000, family of 4, August 2026, 5 days, 4 nights, resort view at Polynesian Village Resort, 3 days of park tickets included, total cost $4,699. And she says in the caption, most people think staying at Disney's Polynesian costs $10K. It turns out it can be way more affordable than you think. Well, I'm not so sure that is affordable, and people seem to agree in the comments. Oh, so it's only $1,000 per night. Spending $5K for 3 days is not possible for 80% or maybe 90% of US households. August, enough said. Enjoy 3 days of heat stroke. Orlando August weather has a high of 92 degrees and a low of 76 degrees, so you best believe you're going to be out there sweating. And also, Florida has insane humidity, so no matter what you do, even if you have like a spray bottle with a fan, you do not feel like you can cool off at all. Now we're going to be looking at some of the bougie, expensive experiences at Disneyland, starting off with Lightning Lane, which yes, used to be the Fast Pass system, which also yes, used to be free.
Would you spend $400 to skip a line? Because that's what I did with the new Disney Lightning Lane Premier Pack. Now that's a lot of money, so is it worth it? I went to Disneyland on December 30th, so the day before New Year's Eve. I had to spend $281 for a park hopper ticket, and then I had to spend $400 for the Lightning Lane Pack. I was shaking in my boots when I spent that much money on Disney, but I was immediately happy when I got there. The first ride we went to was in Star Wars, and it was an 80-minute wait. We got into line thinking we were going to probably have to wait 30 minutes or so. We were there in 10 minutes. Honestly, I think it took us 20 minutes to walk through the line and experience the entire ride and get off the ride. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe we're lucky. Maybe because this is the beginning of the day, it's going to pick up. Oh, it picked up all right. The park was full. 80-minute waits turned into 100-minute waits, but we still were only waiting 10 to 20 minutes at max. And again, the 20-minute mark is probably the time it took me to get on and off the ride. We rode every single adult ride, every coaster. Honestly, the Incredible Coaster may have had one of the longest lines. It was wrapped out. We got on in like 5 to 10 minutes. Honestly, it's to the point that I won't go to Disney if I can't budget this Fast Pass in. Is it expensive? Yes, but worth every penny.
And we can just head straight over to the comments on this one. And it was kind of funny to me to see the difference in personality type in these comments. Fast passes used to be free. $400 on top of the Disneyland ticket is actually insane. 20 minutes is still too much for me to be paying $600. And then there's the other side of the coin, people saying, I'll spend whatever it takes. Me and my man will always do a lightning pass. We just can't do the hour plus lines. I spend $6K on VIP, so yes. And if you decide not to buy the $400 Lightning Lane Pass, you are going to be spending an hour and 40 minutes just waiting in line for one ride. And that brings us to our next bougie experience, that is the VIP tour.
If you've ever wondered what the VIP Disney World tour is like, I went yesterday and I'm about to spill all the tea, girl. When you're a Disney VIP, they pick you up from your hotel and take you through the employee entrance. No lines, no waiting at all. Like, imagine not having to pay for water. Imagine not having to stand in line for it. I forgot to tell you, this is my first time at Disney World, so you can guarantee I'm spoiled because we hit all 4 parks in one day and rode the biggest rides in every single park. And they kept the snacks flowing because when we were hopping from park to park, before we would enter the next park, there was always snacks and drinks. Can I just say how grateful I am to live this life right now? By the way, the family I'm with gave me my first salon job, and when they saw that we got Starbucks delivered, girl, they were gagged. One of my favorite parts was when we got to buy the VIP tour merch that you can only buy if you're on the tour, and only one per person. I dropped the bags off at the hotel and then bounced back to the park so that we could go through the employee entrance to the Haunted Mansion. Look how gag Mallory is. Even the theming in the employee hallway was immaculate. It will take me days, maybe weeks and months to process everything that I got to do today, but I am so grateful that I get to live this type of life because I've dreamed of it for years. Because once you've been through what I have, I'm gonna work my behind off so I never have to be down again. The only way we could end the day was with the VIP seating of the most immaculate fireworks show I've ever seen. Do y'all know that's a real human floating on that string? Don't go into debt, but if you can, it changed my life, and I'm so grateful for y'all.
I commend him for saying don't go into debt for this Disney VIP experience. And the comments say, $6K, honey, you paid for that water. Because he said in the video, I didn't pay for anything. The water was free. But yeah, nothing is free. You did pay for that. All that money, merch should be included. And he said in the video there was special VIP merch available for purchase. And how is that not already included in your $6K VIP package? They can't just throw in some merch for you. You still have to pay for it. I'm crashing out right now. That is crazy. This next clip absolutely blew my mind. I didn't know it was a thing, but there are Disney neighborhoods that you can buy homes in. Yeah, just you wait.
Things only bougie people do in Disney World. Number 1, if you dine at Victoria and Albert's, you are definitely bougie. This spot is the most expensive restaurant on Disney property. Like, it starts at almost $300 per guest, and it literally has a dress code, so your typical park look probably won't cut it. Well, unless you wear, like, suits to the parks. I know Sage does. Number 2, the Polynesian bungalows are bougie. It's basically a whole house, including a private pool and a gorgeous view of the lagoon. If you've ever stayed in one of these, you probably felt like Disney royalty. And I guess you kind of were. Number 3, if you're a regular at Club 33, then you're on a whole new level. You've transcended bougie. This place is the epitome of luxury in Disney World. Number 4, if you live in Disney World, congrats, you're bougie. Golden Oak is Disney's very upscale neighborhood where homes start at $2 million. That's right, start. So yeah, you're definitely bougie if you call this place home. Follow Olliersnet for more.
And of course, it wouldn't be happily ever after without a Disney wedding. So of course, that's a service they provide. And you will be paying for it out the nose.
I got married at Disney's Wedding Pavilion, and here are the things that no one tells you about. Yes, it's one of Disney's most expensive ceremony venues. Now, let's talk numbers, because this is where people get shocked. The ceremony venue fee alone is $8,000, but that also triggers an event minimum depending on the day and time. Monday through Thursday is an $18,000 minimum. Friday mornings and evenings is a $20,000 minimum. Peak Friday times is $25,000. Saturday mornings and evening is $25,000, and Saturday peak times can run up to $35,000.
So yeah, if you want to get married on a Friday or Saturday, like most people do, since most of us work during the week, you are going to be paying extra for it, as in $30,000 or $35,000 extra. The venue doesn't even look that nice. For that price, I want to see Mickey himself officiating the ceremony. I'm confused because that's not a very pretty venue. The exit sign right there is in the shot. I would be very disappointed in this. For the money, I expect it to be beautiful and fairy tale. Oh my, inflation is crazy. I paid $2,500 to get married at the Wedding Pavilion in 2009. So I'm not sure if the commenter was saying she paid $2,500 for the ceremony alone, but if she did, that $2,500 in 2009 is worth about $3,800 today. And the girl in the clip said the ceremony was $8,000. So of course, this has increased well past the point of inflation. And then on top of that, you have to pay an event minimum, which starts at $18,000 and goes up to $35,000. So Disney is increasing their prices well past inflation. innovation to improve their bottom line. And as we saw in the very first clip in this video, Disney is announcing record-breaking profits. And if you thought that was bad, it gets worse. You can get married at the Disneyland Castle. Here is a video of that. It looks extravagant. There is rose petals on the ground. There are bouquets everywhere. There are fireworks in the background. It is over the top, okay? Some of the comments say, this is beautiful, but I really have to know what the final cost of the night was. Super jealous, amazing, congrats. I went and looked this up online at the Disney Weddings website because I too was curious how much this cost, and it says to get married at the Sleeping Beauty Castle, it starts at $100,000. Just absolutely crazy. I mean, it's gorgeous, it is beautiful, but $100,000 on a Disney wedding, I would much rather put that towards a house or some other big purchase, but that's just me. Another comment says, we just all got told how poor we are. Or it's very possible that the people paying for this wedding actually couldn't afford it and had to go into debt to make it happen. And I want to finish off this video with a comment from one of you guys. I sometimes look at some of my peers from high school and wonder how they are living such lavish lifestyles. And I have to remind myself that a good number of them doing that are carrying a lot of debt. My lifestyle and car may not be very fancy, but I can at least have peace of mind that anything I spend on a credit card, I can pay off right away and have no debt. That right there is the same exact ideology I use when I go about my life. I think it's really easy to look at social media and see people going on these expensive vacations and living this lavish life. And you may think to yourself, I wish I could do that. You know, I don't have the money to afford that. But think about the fact that a lot of these people are probably unable to afford it and are going into debt just to fund this lifestyle, just so they can maybe post it all over social media. Who knows? Maybe they're not even enjoying their time there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment down below a dog emoji so I know you watched the whole thing. And if you don't want to wait for my next upload, you can go ahead and check out this video right here on the screen. But thank you guys again, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.